Huh.
All right, folks. I want to talk to you about the idea or the reasoning that I had behind why I thought gluing a truss rod in with epoxy would be a good idea if it were still adjustable. I've heard my entire guitar building experience that you don't want to accidentally glue a truss rod in while you're building a guitar, while you're repairing a guitar. I've already mentioned that I thought that on a single action truss rod that might indeed have, could cause a problem. I've never actually tried to glue a single action truss rod in. I've never accidentally glued one in doing a repair that I'm aware of. Every time I've ever done a repair, neck crack, peg head crack repair, I've had peg heads completely off of guitars and repaired and put splines in and all kinds of different things like that. So lots of glue, lots of different things going on. Never had a truss rod that stopped functioning. I was being careful not to get glue on the truss rod, but just saying that if that had happened accidentally and I didn't know it, I've always had truss rods functioning after repairs. So my idea with gluing a two-way truss rod in is that it's wrapped, it's covered. So the inside faces of the two bars, and maybe I should have drawn a picture, but if you know anything about guitars, two-way truss rods, regardless of what the top or bottom of the outside are doing, you've got two rods together, and we'll just say belly to belly, if that makes any sense. So that there is going to be movement in that truss rod. That was difficult. Words are hard. Thank you, James. So if those surfaces, the inside surfaces of the two different pieces of truss rod, are still able to move, react with each other, then my premise was that the rod would still be adjustable even if you glued it in. My reasoning for thinking that gluing the rod in could be beneficial is that it's not unusual to add carbon fiber rods glued in parallel or beside the truss rod on either side, with some wood in between, to help reinforce the neck. So I'm thinking that if this truss rod is glued in and it's solid in the neck, that you don't have any possibility of a rattle, and you're also reinforcing the neck so that you would probably need the truss rod to move less, or you'd have the ability even to move less than it would normally. So anyway, that's my thinking behind why it might be a valuable thing to do, actually, to add extra reinforcement to the neck, regardless if the truss rod is even in the neutral position. It might actually help hold the neck in position more so than if it were not glued in place. So I did a rough carve on the neck. As you can see, it's very rough. I just wanted to get the basic idea of having a neck carve. You can see it's pretty flat in places. The thickness is right. The width here is right. So this is all very, very standard as far as a neck would go. This is a piece of maple on top, and it doesn't have any slots in it. So I also think that slotting that would actually free the neck up to some degree as well. Now, let's see what happens. My phone just went off. So right now, the neck is completely flat, and I am going to make sure I'm centered in the neck there, and I'm going to back up. I'm not backlit, but I don't see any light through it. I got just a tiny bit of light right up here by my finger. You can see my, yep. So, but it's, I mean, we're not even talking a thousandth. So it's straight. Let's try tightening it first. Now this truss rod has been epoxied into place. Now I'm going to take the thing as far as I can. I haven't done this yet, so I'm just wrenching the snot out of this thing. Okay, that's a pretty good pull right there. I've been just giving it some pretty standard stuff. Right up to that point, it pretty much just stopped right there. So let's see what we got. Now, I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but I've got a pretty good back bow in that neck. Okay, if you... Let me get farther away. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see farther away. Maybe if I come up this way. See that gap? Okay, and then that gap. So to tell you the truth, I've never actually checked a neck that was put in differently to see how much bow I got. But I'll measure this. And I'll eyeball it, and I'll say that I've got 1/8 of an inch or more on each end from the bow up in the middle to the end bows, okay, to where the neck stops. So let's take it the other way and see. I'm going to pause this for just a sec. Okay, just wanted to check that text. Okay, now I'm going to go the other way. I'm loosening the rod. Okay, so I'm neutral again, and I'm going the other. Okay, so let's leave it in the neutral position for a second, right there. I'll check again and see how straight it is. If it returned, and it did indeed return to straight. Now I'm going to tighten the rod the other way and try to pull a relief up into the neck. Oh, I'm not in the can, sorry. I'm just, getting about 1/8 of a turn every time I tweak the wrench. And that's pretty solid the other way right there. I could probably get a little more on it. And so there's, oh, my fingers out. There's your belly right there. And again, I'll get a measuring tool here. I've got a string relief gauge right here, or a string height gauge. Let's see what it says. So that's a fat 1/16 right there. Like I said, I'm not sure what a normal normal neck does in that situation. I've never actually just reefed on a normal neck to see. I've got one right over there. I should just go do that. I think I will. I'm just bringing this thing back into neutral again. So at this point, I would very seriously consider doing my next guitar with a two-way rod and gluing it in, because I'm certain that gluing that rod in is actually adding stability to the neck that you're not getting with it not glued in. certain solidness that maybe we haven't experienced yet. Now, if you would like to comment and tell me if you know for a fact that a non-gluten truss rod has more travel than that, let me know. I'm going to turn the camera off and go over and adjust this guitar I have laying on the bench with no strings on it, and see how far in either direction I can get that rod to move, and I will come back and report the results here. So I'll see you in a minute here. I'll see you in a second, actually. All right, so I just did another guitar. It has the same, well, it has a very similar two-way truss rod in it. And I just wrenched that thing as tight as I could get it, and there is virtually no difference. Being that I'm just eyeballing these things now, I could go back and actually measure them, but for what I could tell, it looks the same. So I'm not seeing any disadvantage whatsoever to having glued or epoxied this truss rod into the slot. The obvious disadvantage is if you ever needed to take the truss rod out, you could definitely have some problems with doing that. I did glue the fretboard on, so the fretboard would remove just like any fretboard. And then as far as being able to take the rod out at that point, I would say you'd probably have to apply a lot of heat to it to soften the epoxy and to pull that out. Yeah, I don't know how often that's going to be a problem. I don't know. No way of knowing. You know, a truss rod could fail, and then we'd be stuck with a epoxy-in truss rod and a hassle. But just so you know, the results of that, what you choose to do with the information, is completely up to you. Like I said, I think there's an added value for stability in the neck. Certainly I would have to be adding some stability to the neck to do that. I don't have a way to measure it or to quantify this at all. It's just an experiment, and those are my results. So thanks. Yeah, comment. Tell me what you think. So the other guitar that I just checked has the same movement, and it was completely done the normal way. Did not glue the truss rod into the slot. Two-way truss rod, a little dab of Lexan. It's like silicone, but it's an acrylic product. And just do a dab on either end and one in the middle just to keep the rod from rattling. And so completely normal installation and the same amount of movement, no more movement. So you're not losing anything at all, and possibly gaining stability. All right, I've said that like 5 times now, so I'll say bye. Let me know what you think.